The great chamber of the Galactic Council shone with light from 1,000 different worlds. Its dome stretched high above, decorated with banners of every species that had joined the great union of stars. Voices echoed inside, each alien voice carrying its own sound, some deep like thunder, some high like whistles, some soft like flowing water. The chamber was a symbol of unity, where hundreds of civilizations came together to decide the fate of entire galaxies. But on this day, the unity was poisoned with fear. The subject of the council was Earth humans. The name itself caused unease. The whispers spread through the hall, across rows of alien diplomats. For centuries, humans had been the newcomers. They had risen late after most great empires had already carved their place in the stars. Yet in only a few generations, Earth had expanded, trading, learning, and building alliances. Humanity's speed of progress shocked the galaxy, and where they went, conflict often followed. The council chair, an ancient being with translucent skin and glowing eyes, struck the floor with a silver staff. The sound rang like a bell, silencing the noise. "The matter of Earth is before us," the chair declared. "The representatives will speak. The vote will follow." From one side of the chamber, an alien with scaled skin stood, its body marked with silver tattoos. Its voice was sharp like metal scraping. "Humans are dangerous. Their history is full of war. Even now, they build weapons greater than what their position should allow. They speak of peace, but their actions always move toward conflict. If we do nothing, they will one day dominate us all." Another representative, a being with feathered wings and golden eyes, joined the argument. "They expand too quickly. They have no patience. Every species here has taken thousands of years to rise to join this council. Humans, barely a few centuries, and they already speak as equals. This arrogance cannot be tolerated." More voices added to the storm. "They interfere with our colonies. They steal knowledge. They do not respect our traditions. They cannot be trusted." The humans had friends, of course, but even those allies stayed silent now. To defend Earth would mean standing against the rising tide, and fear silenced many. Finally, the chair called forward Earth's ambassador. A single man walked into the circle at the center of the chamber. He was tall, with sharp features and steady eyes. Unlike the aliens around him, he wore no glowing robes, no ornaments of rank. Only a simple dark suit, the emblem of Earth shining on his chest. The room grew quiet. "Speak," the chair commanded. The ambassador's voice was calm, but his words carried across the chamber. "Council members," he said, "you speak of our wars. Yet who among you can claim peace? Which of your empires was built without fire? Which of your banners was raised without blood? You call us dangerous, but we have done only what you yourselves once did. We build, we learn, we grow." He paused, letting his eyes sweep across the chamber. "You fear us not because of what we have done, but because of what we may become. You see your own history in us, and it frightens you. But fear is not justice. Fear is not wisdom. Do not let it blind you." A low rumble of disagreement filled the hall. Some looked away. Others hissed or growled in alien tongues. The scaled representative rose again. "Fine words," it spat. "But we are not blind. We see you preparing. You invent weapons beyond reason. You push borders without permission. You are a threat to all. The council must act now." The chair raised the staff once more. "The motion is clear," the ancient voice said. "Shall Earth be bound to the will of the council? Its fleets controlled, its weapons seized, its people placed under galactic order? The vote begins." Lights flickered across the chamber as each representative cast their decision. Symbols of their species glowed above them. Green for agreement, red for rejection. One by one, the greens filled the hall. The ambassador stood in silence, watching. At first, there was hope. A few red lights blinked on, some voices that still believed in fairness and trust. But they were few. Too few. The greens spread like fire until the chamber glowed almost entirely with their light. When the final symbol appeared, the count was declared. By overwhelming majority, the chair announced, "Earth is to be enslaved under galactic law. Humanity is hereby bound." The vote is complete. The chamber erupted with noise. Some species cheered, others hissed with satisfaction. A few remained silent, uneasy at the harshness of the judgment. But the majority were pleased. The ambassador did not shout. He did not argue. He simply raised his head and looked at them all. His eyes were calm, but his voice carried something deeper, something cold and final. "You have made your choice," he said, "and one day you will regret it." The words hung in the chamber like a shadow, but the council ignored them. The chair dismissed him, and the guards guided him away. To them, it was over. The decision was made. Humanity had been broken, or so they believed. That night, as the ambassadors of other worlds celebrated their victory, whispers began to spread through the council halls. Some envoys wondered why the human had not protested louder, why he had not begged or threatened. He had not sounded defeated. He had sounded certain, but the council dismissed these fears. They had united against Earth, and in unity they felt secure. Yet far away, beyond their borders, Earth heard the news, and Earth remembered. The Galactic Council believed the matter finished. The vote had passed, the judgment declared. Humanity was now to be restrained, its fleet seized, its power limited. To most species it was a victory for safety and order, but far away beyond their polished halls and shining towers, Earth grew silent. No long speeches followed. No protests, no appeals. The humans simply returned to their world and said nothing. At first, this silence pleased the council. "They understand their place," some whispered. "The humans know they cannot fight us all." Others dismissed Earth as a minor problem. "Let them sulk," they said. "They will obey." But soon, small things began to happen. The first disappearances, a patrol fleet of the Zarnak species, strong and proud, was traveling near the trade lanes that brushed close to human space. They had orders to monitor Earth's borders to show force. Their ships were powerful, equipped with advanced weapons, shields, and tracking systems. They had never lost a battle. One morning, the fleet sent its regular report to the council. By evening, it was gone, no distress signals, no broken ships, no survivors. The fleet had simply vanished. At first, the Zarnak leaders accused pirates, but no pirates could have defeated such a force so cleanly. Suspicion fell on Earth. Yet when scouts were sent to investigate, they found nothing, only empty space, quiet and calm. The council told the galaxy not to worry. It was an accident, they said. Perhaps an engine failure, a star's pull, or a hidden danger. They dismissed it quickly, but more fleets began to vanish. Not just Zarnak, but others. A Shalari convoy disappeared while traveling across neutral space. A group of Rimari explorers vanished at the edge of the Orion Gate. Whispers spread like smoke. The galaxy grew uneasy. Strange shadows. In the weeks that followed, traders told stories of strange ships seen in the dark between stars. Not normal ships, not with bright engines or loud signals. These ships moved without sound, without light. They glided like shadows, unseen until too late. Some swore they were not ships at all, but machines built only for war. Others said they were ghosts, creations of human imagination. Not real at all. But when a Valari merchant ship returned with its cargo ripped apart and its crew shaken, the rumors turned to fear. "They never fired at us," the captain said, trembling. "They just appeared, surrounded us, and then everything stopped. Our systems shut down, our weapons froze, and then they let us go." But before they left, one of the machines sent a message. "What message?" the council asked. The captain shivered. 2 words: "We remember." The council's denial. The council tried to calm the growing panic. They released statements claiming Earth was being monitored, that humans were under control. They called the stories myths and exaggerations. But behind closed doors, the counselors argued, "How are they doing this?" One demanded. "They were not supposed to have this level of power," said another. "Their ships are old. Their fleets are small. This should be impossible." Yet the evidence could not be denied. Trade routes grew dangerous. Outposts reported sabotage, communications cut, power drained, supply lines broken. The great galactic economy, once strong and flowing, began to slow. The chair, who had led the vote, grew stern. "Humanity must be reminded of its place," the chair declared. "We will send a coalition fleet, 1,000 ships united. That will end this nonsense." The coalition fleet, the Great Fleet, was formed. Ships from dozens of species gathered, shining with weapons, armor, and the pride of the galaxy. It was said to be unstoppable, the strongest armada seen in centuries. The fleet marched into human space with confidence. Their leaders expected quick victory, the crushing of whatever secret power Earth believed it had. But Earth was waiting. The first battle lasted only minutes. The coalition ships moved together, their commanders boasting. Yet as they entered human space, something strange happened. One by one, their systems failed. Shields flickered out, engines stopped. Weapons refused to fire, and then the shadows came. Human ships appeared, not dozens, but hundreds. They were not like the old designs the galaxy had studied. These were sleek, silent, and built for precision. They did not roar into battle with flashing guns. They glided among the helpless fleet, cutting through systems with perfect strikes. The coalition ships fell apart like sand in the wind. When it was over, not a single human ship was destroyed. The coalition fleet, once the pride of the galaxy, was shattered in silence. A single message was broadcast from the humans to all survivors before they fled. You voted. We remember. Fear in the galaxy. News of the defeat spread quickly. The council tried to hide it, but survivors told their stories, and soon the whole galaxy knew. Trade halted. Merchants refused to travel through human space. Border colonies began to fear the dark between the stars, whispering that humanity's machines watched them always. Species that had voted to enslave Earth now questioned their decision. They had thought humans weak, thought they could be controlled. But now humanity was striking back in ways no one could explain. The galaxy had seen wars before, but never like this. This was not conquest. Humans did not invade worlds, did not seize territory, did not take slaves. They simply dismantled. Piece by piece, they pulled the galaxy apart. Trade, communication, power. Humanity was not interested in ruling. Humanity was interested in reminding. Uneasy realizations within the council, fear turned to arguments. We must talk to them, one species said. No, another argued. They are too dangerous. If we show weakness, they will crush us. But they already are crushing us, shouted a third. The chair slammed the staff. Silence. We cannot bow to humans. We are the council. They are one world. They will bend. But even the chair's voice shook now. The silence from Earth was not weakness. It was something far worse. Patience. A shadow over all across the galaxy. Strange things continued. An empire woke to find its central defense grid disabled. Every shield offline. No attack followed. Only silence. A mining world discovered its ore stolen, every vault empty, though no ships had been seen. A research station studying advanced weapons was left floating powerless, its data erased. Each time the same message was left behind. We remember. The galaxy realized the truth. Humanity was not just fighting back. Humanity was watching, everywhere, and no one knew how far they would go. The council had voted to enslave Earth, but now, the galaxy itself began to feel enslaved, by fear of the unseen arsenal humanity had released, and this was only the beginning. The galaxy had lived in comfort for a long time. The council was the great shield, the final voice of order. Most species trusted it completely. When disputes arose, the council settled them. When wars threatened, the council ended them. But now, everything was changing. The galaxy's trust began to crack, not from an enemy empire, but from one world, Earth. Systems go. Dark it began slowly, with isolated incidents, fleets disappearing, convoys destroyed. But soon the pattern grew clearer. Whole systems began to fall silent. The lights of trade beacons flickered out. Communication hubs, once glowing with messages from dozens of worlds, became empty. Mining colonies went silent, their workers lost. Stations orbiting gas giants turned dark, their orbits drifting without power. At first, the council tried to deny it. They called the disappearances accidents. They said storms, pirates, or natural disasters were responsible. But when system after system went quiet, no one believed their words anymore. And everywhere the silence spread, one message remained. We remember. Silent fleets. In the space between stars, human fleets moved like shadows. They did not travel with glowing engines or leave trails that scanners could follow. They did not broadcast signals as most ships were required to under council law. Instead, they appeared without warning, struck like lightning and vanished again into the dark. Alien admirals tried to prepare defenses. They placed fleets near border systems, lined stations with weapons and set traps. But every defense failed. Human ships did not fight battles the old way. They did not line up and exchange fire. They shut down enemy systems before the first shot was fired. They hacked into networks, drained power, and silenced fleets. And when the alien ships floated helpless, the humans never destroyed them all. They left survivors to carry the message back. You voted. We remember. The panic of traders for centuries. Trade had been the lifeblood of the galaxy. Rich ores from the rim, fine crystals from the core worlds, food and medicines carried across light years. All kept civilization alive. But now traders refused to fly. Merchants whispered of human drones that followed them unseen. Convoys vanished into silence. Some ships returned, shaken and half dead, their cargo stolen and systems ruined. Soon the great markets of the council world stood half empty. Stalls that once overflowed with goods became bare. Prices rose. Hunger spread. The council tried to send escorts, but even the strongest escorts vanished into the dark. For the first time in living memory, the galaxy felt fear of starvation. And the name on everyone's lips was the same: humanity. Division in the council, inside the great chamber of the council. Voices grew louder each day. We must negotiate, said the Valari ambassador, her wings trembling. They are bleeding us without firing a single war of conquest. If we do not stop this, our worlds will collapse. No, the Zarnak delegate hissed. To bend now would be weakness. We must fight harder, unite stronger. They cannot stand against us all. They already are standing against us all, another voice cried. Have you not seen the reports? Fleets gone, colonies dark, markets empty. We are losing without a single battle. They are unmaking us. The chair struck the floor with the staff, trying to bring order, but even its voice no longer carried the same strength. Too many knew the truth. The council was powerless. The message to all one morning. Every screen, every comm, every signal tower in the galaxy lit up at once. A human figure appeared. Standing in darkness, face hidden by shadow. The voice was calm, steady, and without emotion. You voted, the voice said. We remember. You chose to enslave Earth. You chose to bind us. You thought we would bow. Instead we rise. The voice paused, then continued. We do not seek your worlds. We do not seek your thrones. But we will remind you of your choice. Every fleet you send will fall. Every system you depend on will fail. Every arrogance will cost you. We are not your slaves. We are not your subjects. We are humanity. The message ended, leaving silence across the stars. The council panicked. Some species shouted for more war. Others whispered of surrender. All agreed on one truth. Earth was no longer the victim. Earth was the storm. The collapse of power soon. Even great empires began to feel the weight of humanity's counterstrike. The Shalari Empire, once proud with its fleets of shining ships, saw its central power grid collapse. Cities went dark. Millions cried for help. The empire begged the council for aid, but none came. Every ship was already tied in fear of humanity's shadows. The Zarnak, loudest in their hatred of Earth, woke to find their planetary defenses silent. Orbital cannons froze, shield walls failed. For a week they lived in terror, waiting for human fleets to arrive, but none came. The silence itself was the weapon. The Valari, who had once spoken gently against the vote, found their food transports cut off. They sent envoys to Earth begging for talks, but no answer came. Only the message. We remember. And everywhere fear grew. The new realization. The galaxy began to understand something it had never imagined. Humanity did not want territory. They did not land armies, raise flags, or take slaves. They wanted the galaxy to feel powerless as Earth had been made to feel. They wanted every species to understand the weight of their decision. This was not conquest. This was a lesson, and the lesson was being written in silence, in fear, in the slow crumbling of everything the council had built. A meeting in secret deep within the council's private chambers. A secret meeting was held. Only the highest leaders were invited. The chair looked weaker now, its once bright eyes dim. We are losing everything, the chair admitted. Our fleets cannot fight shadows. Our trade cannot move. Our people lose faith. We must consider what was once unthinkable. You mean bow to them, the Zarnak hissed. I mean survive, the chair replied. But even in secret, the council could not agree. Pride, fear, and old arrogance still blinded many. Some would rather collapse than admit humanity's strength. Yet others already began to prepare envoys, desperate to beg Earth for mercy. The shadow over all across the galaxy, ordinary people spoke in hushed tones. Farmers, traders, workers, soldiers. Everyone knew someone who had vanished in the silence, or returned with stories of human shadows. Children whispered the words like a ghost story. We remember. But the truth was no story. The truth was a new reality. Humanity was no longer the one being judged. Humanity was now the judge, and the galaxy had only begun to learn its sentence. The Council had thought Earth weak. They had thought a single vote could chain humanity. But now whole systems were falling dark. Fleets were crumbling. The mighty were trembling. And every species that had raised its hand against Earth began to wonder if this was the beginning of their end. Because humanity had not just survived. Humanity had struck back. The galaxy had grown silent. Systems that once sang with life were quiet, save for the occasional reports of fleets and colonies that vanished or were left crippled. The Council, which had once ruled with confidence and authority, now trembled in fear. Every species that had voted against Earth realized the truth. They were no longer masters. They were prey. The first envoys, it began with the smaller species. From the edge of the Shalari Nebula, the Goran sent an envoy to Earth. They traveled lightly, no weapons, no shields, only a message of submission. We beg for mercy, their ambassador said, voice trembling. We were foolish. We voted to enslave your world. We understand now, please. Spare us. The humans received them quietly. They did not raise fleets or issue threats. They listened. Then after a long silence, the envoy was allowed to return. Their message, once meant to plead, became a story across the stars. Earth did not destroy them. Earth remembered. The Goran carried the story like a warning, telling everyone, do not make the same mistake. Panic in the Council. Inside the Council chambers, panic replaced pride. They are waiting, whispered the Valari delegate, not attacking, not destroying, but waiting. And we cannot reach them. We cannot fight them. Every fleet we send is defeated before it even fires. The Zarnak, who had once led the charge to enslave Earth, slammed the table. We must strike, crush them before they grow bolder. A senior advisor shook his head. We cannot. They do not fight like any enemy we know. Every move we make is anticipated. Every strategy is countered before we even act. They are everywhere and nowhere. The chair of the Council, once the voice of authority, now admitted what many feared. The galaxy had underestimated humanity. They had voted to enslave a species they did not understand. And now every species felt the consequences. The fear spreads reports came from every corner of the galaxy. In the outer systems, once proud fleets were grounded, their weapons drained, their communications cut. Colonies that had resisted human influence found themselves isolated, unable to call for help. Traders who dared travel near human-controlled space returned shaken, their cargo stolen or damaged. In the core worlds, the rich and powerful whispered in fear. The Council markets, once bustling with trade and chatter, now stood half empty. Food and supplies became scarce. Prices rose, creating tension among species that had once looked down on humanity. And always the message followed. We remember. Desperate appeals. The major empires realized that action was necessary. Not because they wanted to fight, but because survival demanded it. The Shalari Empire sent a delegation, humbling itself in ways it had never done before. The Zarnak dispatched representatives, bending their proud necks as they approached the orbit of Earth. The Valari sent envoys, their golden wings folded in submission, their voices soft with fear. Each envoy carried the same message. We made a mistake. We beg your mercy. We wish to correct our wrongs. The humans received them all in the same way. Calm, silent, and deliberate. No fleet followed them. No weapon threatened them. Only the quiet knowledge that they were in control. Every ambassador left Earth alive, but each carried a heavier weight than before. The knowledge that humanity had remembered every vote, every slight, every insult. Alliances began to falter. The once united Council began to crumble. Some species attempted to unite their fleets to strike humanity together. They believed that only combined strength could challenge the humans' power. But every plan failed. The humans anticipated every move. Fleets sent to intercept were disabled before battle. Colonies meant to serve as supply points vanished without trace. Communication lines were cut silently, leaving the combined forces blind and unable to coordinate. Even when species tried to help one another, They found that their alliances were no match for human strategy. Distrust grew. Whispers of betrayal filled the council halls. Who had been careless? Who had angered the humans most? The council, which had once been the pillar of the galaxy, now existed only in name. Humanity's rules. Humanity had made no laws for other species. They did not occupy worlds. They did not impose taxes or govern. But they had made one rule clear. No species may enslave another. The galaxy learned the rule the hard way. Every vote, every action against Earth became a chain around its perpetrators. Species that had once looked down on humans now found themselves kneeling in fear and respect. Humanity had not sought war. Humanity had not sought revenge. But every species that had chosen oppression now understood the consequences of their choice. The Council's desperation, within the Council chambers, desperation reached its peak. A secret session was called. Only the leaders of the major empires were allowed. The chair, now pale and weakened, addressed the group. "We cannot continue like this," the chair admitted. "Our fleets are gone. Our colonies fall silent. Our people are afraid. We must send a delegation to Earth. We must beg for mercy." The words were shocking. For centuries, the Council had never bowed. Now, every empire agreed in silence that survival demanded humility. The journey to Earth envoys from the galaxy's most powerful empires began the long journey to Earth. They traveled with caution, their fleets modest, no signs of arrogance, no weapons ready for attack. They had learned the lesson. Human ships could destroy any fleet at will. The journey was quiet. Envoys whispered stories of human power, of fleets that moved unseen, of stations that vanished into darkness. Panic had replaced pride. Every species that had voted for Earth's enslavement now feared not only death, but humiliation and loss of all their systems. When the first ships arrived at Earth's orbit, they were awed. The planet was calm, green and blue, a reminder of what they had underestimated. It seemed almost peaceful, as if humanity had never been challenged. The first audience, the envoys, were brought before a human council. Not a military council, not a group of generals, but diplomats and leaders who spoke with calm authority. The envoys fell silent, realizing that there was no army waiting to strike them down. There were no chains, no weapons. Only humans, calm and patient. One of the envoys finally spoke. His voice shook. We come to apologize. We voted to enslave your world. We acted in fear and arrogance. We beg for your mercy." The human leader listened. There was no immediate answer. Then, after a long pause, he spoke in a quiet, firm voice. "Your mistakes are remembered, but punishment is not our goal. Change is. You will leave here and tell every species never again will any species enslave another." The envoys bowed. Not out of victory, but out of understanding. Humanity had become the measure of justice in the galaxy. The legend grows, word spread quickly. Stories of Earth's calm power, its careful control, and its silent fleets that struck without warning, traveled faster than any fleet ever could. From the rim to the core, species told their children, "Do not vote to enslave. Do not anger humanity. Respect the humans." The Council had voted. The galaxy had acted, and now every species was reminded of their place. Humanity had not conquered by weapons or armies. They had conquered by remembering every slight and every choice. And the galaxy would never forget. The Council, once proud and untouchable, had learned a lesson no one had expected. Every species that had voted to enslave Earth now approached the humans with caution, respect and fear. The galaxy had been humbled, and humanity stood, patient and strong, knowing the rest of the story was yet to unfold. The galaxy had changed. Systems that had once thrived under the guidance of the Council now whispered in fear. Fleets were grounded, trade halted, colonies isolated. The Council, once unchallenged, now faced the truth. Humanity was not only strong, they were unstoppable in ways no species had ever imagined. And now, every species that had once voted to enslave Earth was coming forward, seeking an audience. The great gathering, for the first time in galactic history, every major species sent representatives to Earth. The Council itself had no authority left, and even its greatest fleets were powerless against the silent shadow of human strategy. Envoys arrived in cautious formations. They bore no weapons. Their ships were small and humble, their crews anxious. Every leader, from the proud Zarnak to the wise Valari, approached Earth with fear, respect, and humility. They had learned one truth: humanity did not conquer by war. Humanity conquered by thought, by patience, and by the memory of every choice made against them. The first ships entered orbit, and the humans watched quietly. No fleets emerged to destroy, no weapons rose to strike. Only observation. The first words the envoys were brought before the human High Council. The leaders of Earth, a mixture of diplomats, strategists, and veterans, sat with calm authority. Their presence alone silenced the room. A representative of the Zarnak, whose people had once led the vote to enslave Earth, stepped forward. His scales shimmered nervously under the light. We come to apologize," he began. "Our vote was wrong. Our arrogance blinded us. We beg your mercy. Please allow us to correct our mistake." The human leader did not respond immediately. He regarded the envoy with quiet patience, as if weighing the history of every choice, every insult, and every misjudgment. Finally, he spoke. "Your mistake is noted. We remember it. But punishment is not our goal. The galaxy is ours to teach, not to enslave. Go and tell every species no being has the right to enslave another. That is the lesson of Earth." The envoy bowed deeply. It was not the bow of fear, it was the bow of understanding. The message to the galaxy humans did not stop with the envoys. A message was sent across all known space, broadcast to every species, every world, and every fleet. "You voted to enslave Earth," the message began. "You thought us weak. You thought your numbers and your fleets could bind us. But humanity remembers. We do not forget. We do not forgive the arrogance that sought to chain us." The voice continued, calm yet full of power. "Let this message serve as a law. No species shall enslave another. We do not ask obedience. We do not demand tribute, but the galaxy will remember. And if you forget, we will remind you." The broadcast ended. Silence filled the air across countless worlds. Species that had long considered themselves strong felt humility, fear, and awe at the same time. The council's humiliation inside the council chambers. The leaders of the former ruling body convened one last time. The chair, once a voice of unshakable authority, now looked frail and unsure. "We underestimated them," the chair admitted. "We thought Earth could be controlled. We voted to enslave. We were wrong. Entire fleets have been lost. Trade routes fail. Colonies are isolated. We are powerless." The Valari delegate, who had once advised caution, spoke next. "They do not occupy worlds. They do not conquer lands. They do not enslave. And yet, the galaxy obeys their will, not by force but by principle. Their lesson is complete." The Zarnak delegate, ashamed and silent for the first time in centuries, nodded. They had once led the charge against Earth. Now even pride could not hide the truth. Humanity had won. The humble empire, despite their victory, humans did not take the galaxy by force. They allowed each species to maintain their homes, their planets, and their colonies. They demanded no loyalty, no tribute, no submission. Instead, humans offered a simple rule: justice and respect. Any species found trying to enslave another would face the same fate that the Council had tried to impose on Earth: calculated, precise, and unavoidable. It was not punishment. It was teaching. Species that had once been arrogant bowed their heads in humility. Trade resumed, slowly at first, but always under the shadow of Earth's watch. Systems that had vanished were restored, their people unharmed. The humans did not destroy, they corrected, guided, and reminded. A lesson in patience across the galaxy. Historians would later note that humanity's method was unlike anything before. Other species used weapons, armies, and fear to conquer. Humanity used memory, patience, and strategy. The entire galaxy had underestimated a single species, and every misstep was carefully remembered. It was not the largest fleet that mattered. It was not the deadliest weapon. It was the ability to plan, to endure, and to act with certainty when the time came. The lesson was clear. Power is not just strength. It is wisdom, patience, and the ability to remember. The humble guardians' years passed. Humanity did not occupy other worlds, but their influence spread quietly. Fleet patrols moved unseen, preventing slavery and injustice. Intelligence networks monitored activity without harming the innocent. Alien species grew to understand that humans were not tyrants, but guardians. The ones who had voted against them learned respect. The ones who had allied with them learned friendship. And the galaxy, once proud and reckless, learned caution. No one challenged humanity again. The vote to enslave Earth became a story whispered in schools, told to children across the stars. Do not judge by appearances. Do not underestimate the small or the late. Respect all life or learn the hard way. The final reminder on the anniversary of the vote against Earth, humans sent a simple message to the galaxy. You chose to enslave us. We survived. We remembered. The galaxy is now ours to teach, not to conquer. Remember this lesson, for it will not be repeated. No threat followed the message. No fleet attacked. Only silence and understanding. Species bowed their heads, not in fear of death, but in awe of wisdom. Humanity had proven that the greatest strength is not just power. It is memory, patience, and the courage to act when necessary. The legend of Earth in the years that followed. The story of the vote against Earth became a legend. Children learned that no species could enslave another. Leaders learned that arrogance could be deadly. Traders learned to respect the unseen guardians of space. Historians recorded the tale as the turning point of galactic civilization. Humanity did not conquer the galaxy with weapons. They did not enslave. They taught, and in that teaching every species came to respect Earth, not as rulers but as the wise force that reminded the galaxy of what it meant to act justly. The Council had voted. The galaxy had acted, humanity had remembered, and every species, from the smallest miner to the proudest emperor, knew the truth. They had once voted to enslave Earth, and now, every species begged for their lives, not with weapons, but with understanding, respect, and humility. The galaxy had been humbled. The Council had been shattered. And humanity had secured its legacy, not by fear, not by conquest, but by patience, wisdom, and the quiet strength of remembering every choice. The story spread across countless stars. They voted to enslave Earth. Now every species begs for their lives, and humanity, calm and vigilant, continued to watch over the galaxy, not as conquerors but as guardians of justice.